Broadcasting from Watts Creative Studios and live on Grove Street FM. You're listening to Talk Local to Me, brought to you by the Central Virginia Business Coalition.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to July.
Here it is.
And welcome to Talk Local to Me. Excited to have you guys tuning in with us again this week. And I am Heather Alto with the Central Virginia Business Coalition.
And I'm Mike Norfield with Visiting Angels of Lynchburg, America's Choice in Home Care.
I was just going to say, Mike is back.
I'm back.
A 2-week hiatus, 3 weeks.
Back to Virginia.
Yeah.
I only got delayed by an entire day.
I know. I was following your travel woes.
Yeah, shout out to American Airlines for sucking. So, they were.
This podcast not sponsored by American Airlines, by the way. I'll just throw that out there.
Don't plan it on in the future. But flew out of D.C., so we had a direct flight so we wouldn't get stuck in Charlotte like tends to happen to me. And instead, we got stuck in Boston. So they canceled all the flights going to D.C. for the day.
I have not gotten my real ID yet. So I can't fly right now. So I'm trying to figure out all the pieces to getting the real ID, making sure I have all the pieces so that I can go and finally get one. I guess I need to get one for myself. Well, we're going back to Disney in November, but we're driving.
Okay.
Not fun, but that's what we're doing.
So. You want to need the real ID. So
I don't need a real ID for that.
So
yeah.
They were pulling people out of line that didn't have one, and you got your hand slapped and.
Very cool. Did they let him through?
I think so.
Okay. Well, it is, as I mentioned before, it is July 2nd. And what does that mean? Well, what that means is we are halfway through the year. It is July, Christmas in July.
I'm
sure everyone's so excited for that. No, actually, though, we are celebrating Christmas in July at the Central Virginia Business Coalition. Really excited about a couple of things. We do have our Christmas in July membership special, so you're going to want to check that out. It's super awesome. And if you're not a member, you're going to want to utilize that to get involved and get signed up. Or if you're a past business that maybe you had to drop for some reason, but you want to come back because we'd love to have you back. You're going to want to chat with us. Also, that means we are opening up our applications for both Bedford and Lynchburg's Christmas parades.
Oh, that means we have a theme.
That does mean we have a theme.
You can find that on the Visiting Angels Facebook page.
Yes. So do we not want to announce it? We want to make people...
maybe at the end of the show.
Okay, maybe at the end of the show. But applications will be open as of tomorrow. I'm finishing up the last touches on those, and they will be up on the CVABC website. So our members or not even members, just the community as a whole can go on and register to be part of either or both of the Christmas parades this year. So we're very excited about that. And then also make sure you're following the Central Virginia Business Coalition's Facebook page as well. I went yesterday to Begin Again Consignment and did my first of quite a few that will be happening this month. Facebook Lives, we're going to be putting up some posts, but it's all going to be about Christmas in July, where people should be shopping mid-year, starting your Christmas shopping early. Where should you be shopping local? We're going to be, so you're going to want to check that out.
That's fun.
Yeah, on our CVABC Facebook page. And then I'm not going to go through all the coffee talks coming up yet. I will also mention, though, to be on the lookout as well on our Facebook page for our first of a new series starting in August called Lunching Local. And that is where we'll be highlighting a different restaurant once a month that we're going to kind of like cash mob. We're going to encourage people to go that day and get their lunch, whether you eat in, whether you carry out, whether you have it for lunch, dinner, or breakfast. We're going to lunch local at a restaurant in our area. So
that's good.
I say breakfast or dinner, but I mean, it's called Lunching Local, but so the main point is lunch, but they'll take what they can get.
Lunch is all about just eating. Sometime during the day.
Yeah. So we're excited for that too. So we got a lot going on. But today we have 2 guests that we are going to have on the show. And our first guest today is Keith Wayne. Hello. How are you?
Hey, Heather, Mike, thank you. I'm doing great.
So Keith Wayne is a senior financial planner with Mercer Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Mercer Advisors is new to Lynchburg area, and Keith is the first Mercer Advisors financial planner in the Lynchburg area. So tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so before entering wealth management, I was a teacher. I taught at Campbell County schools here in the Lynchburg area, and I'm married, and my wife and I have 4 kids. Then about 10 years ago, I I had a growing interest in financial planning, and I realized that I could be doing the teaching, the researching, the communicating that I enjoyed doing as a teacher, but in the financial planning space. So then I started looking into that. And about 3 years ago, I made the career switch to financial planning with Mercer Advisors. And with Mercer Advisors, I do comprehensive financial planning, and I also specialize in college and student loan planning.
Awesome.
That's important stuff. So, can you share with us a little bit about what makes Mercer Advisors unique?
Sure. One quote I want to share from the founder of Mercer Advisors, Kendrick Mercer. Mercer Advisors was founded in 1986, and Kendrick Mercer, who founded the firm, says, "We are unconditionally committed to work with our clients to create the best context possible for their economic freedom so that they do not have to worry about money." So I like that with Mercer Advisors, we help our clients amplify and simplify their financial lives. So like grow their wealth, protect their wealth, save money. That's the amplify part. And then the simplify part, my wife loves, and I love too. We're Mercer Advisor clients, and we have more time, more confidence, greater clarity around our financial life because it's all together. It's all cohesive and not spread out in different places.
Okay. So how does Mercer Advisors do all of that for their clients?
We have a unified in-house team that really creates a family office for our clients. 1882, I used to teach history.
Okay.
In 1880,
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you, what did you used to teach? I wasn't sure if it was like finance or, because
Right. I taught different things, fourth grade English, history. But so I love history. And in 1882, John D. Rockefeller organized what you'd call the first family office. So he had like his investments and insurance, to kind of just everything all in-house because obviously is very wealthy. And so what Mercer Advisors does is we have all in-house. We have an estate planning team. We have an insurance team. We have an investment team of like 100 people looking at the investment piece. We have a financial planning group that really focuses on the financial plan, which is what we start with everybody. Like I said, insurance, tax, we have a dedicated tax team. So all of these areas we're communicating with each other all the time. So our clients' finances aren't fragmented, which is pretty typical. Like you might have a tax guy over here and estate people over there and insurance people here. So we're able to put that all in-house. We have a hand-picked wealth advisor that doesn't have to be worrying about sales or getting new clients. They can focus on the clients. We have institutional grade portfolio, like you think of with big universities or big companies, that kind of institutional grade portfolio. And then, but we're like also a boutique fiduciary with a national strength all across the country.
Okay.
All right. And can you give us a little more detail about like how the in-house team works?
Right. The in-house team, you think of the wealth advisors like the conductor, like if you have, my sons and marching bands, like the conductor. And
like
so
the train whistle going off here.
Exactly. Right. So we lead with financial planning. So we look and see where do our clients want to end up? Where are they headed? After leading with the financial planning piece, then we turn to investment management, and we have an investment program because each client's investment needs are different. So we have a full investment program that our investment team puts together, and we have estate planning to make sure that everything's working in that direction in a way that makes sense for estate planning. We also have trust services, insurance, and just all that working together. But the wealth advisor is coordinating all of that.
Okay. And so you just talked about how the wealth advisor coordinates all this. Like, how do they kind of manage all that?
Well, our wealth advisors, they're not commission based. They don't receive commissions, so they're paid a salary and then a bonus for serving clients. They're not part of a sales team, but they're able to just totally focus on the client. We have regional vice presidents that'll talk to people that are interested in becoming clients, and then they're matched with the wealth advisor that's a good fit for them. So we have different needs, like business owners have different needs from
right.
other kinds of professionals like attorneys or physicians or what have you. And so we match somebody that's going to be a good fit for whatever needs you have, whatever wealth advisor that might have some background in the area that you're dealing with.
Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of vendors that we use that are like bookkeeping and things like that. They're very healthcare specific, and because with each industry comes its own unique caveats of what works and what doesn't. So
right.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people, want to invest in things. How does Mercer Advisors handle investments?
Well, we do it in-house. We have a team of about 100, which is made up of subcommittees that of different areas. And those, a lot of wealth advisors were certified financial planning professionals, certified financial analysts, and some have MBAs. And they're swapped out, so they're not in there forever. And each member of the team gets one vote. And so when we are looking at investments for clients, we use scientific, research-based, strategies for investing clients' assets, and we have a large scale, like bigger than like Harvard University, for example, and so we're able to, negotiate prices, keep fees low, which really helps then the clients.
Okay,
Yeah, that's good.
So you are the first Mercer advisor here in the Lynchburg area, but I'm assuming there are Mercer advisors offices across the country.
Correct. There's Roanoke and Richmond and Raleigh would be a few places close to here. There's also literally all across the country. We have over 100 offices nationwide, about 370 advisors. And so there's pretty much there's going to be a Mercer advisor office within, not too far away from you, wherever you are.
Okay.
Excellent. So Mercer advisors, are they more just for individuals or business as well? Like what kind of clients do you typically work with?
Great question. We work definitely with individuals, and that'd be the biggest group. But then we also are able to work with businesses. If you think of retirement planning, we can handle that. We can also work with nonprofits, and if you're a nonprofit, we give the same approach. So integrated financial plan, and somebody that's going to be a good fit for working with your nonprofit, and we can invest assets the way they that makes sense. And again, you get that independent fiduciary. It's like we have to do what's in the the nonprofit's best interest or the business owner. So yeah, we can definitely work with business owners and nonprofits as well.
So being a former teacher, I see that you specialize in college planning. So that kind of makes sense. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, when you think of retirement planning, which is, we do a ton of that, and that's probably kind of the biggest thing. But when we're talking college planning, that's a need that's right in front of people. Like if you have a student that's going into college, that's right now. Yeah. And doing some kind of education after high school, just statistics show that you're going to have higher income potential, whether it's college or a 2-year program, or it could be a vocational school, apprenticeship, something. So we kind of look at that, and we work with clients whose kids are looking at college, and we can help find like what's going to be the best fit college for the student, and also in keeping in mind the whole financial picture when we're doing that.
So what are some tips on finding the right college for a student about to start? Because like you said, college is a big financial commitment. And I think a lot of times people look at the money before they look at the school, or vice versa. So what are some bigger tips?
Right. You want to look at a school that's going to be the best fit, kind of like when you go looking for a home and you look online, maybe with Zillow or something, and there's all these homes and they look great online. But if you don't actually go and check them out, it might look good kind of on paper. But so, you want to visit the school. You want to make sure that the student really likes it. Because if a student ends up not finishing at that school, then maybe you've spent a lot of money and there's no degree, and that's not good. So you want to make sure that it's a good social fit for the student, a good academic fit, right? So a place that they're going to be successful academically, a place where there's going to be, clubs or activities or, organizations, internships, whatever, professors that are going to, connect with students, that there's higher success rate when you have some kind of mentor or professor that inspires you. So you want to look for all of these kinds of things, and then also the financial piece. Obviously, you want to make sure that it's going to be something that's going to be, hopefully not put your family in debt or your student in debt for long term. You want to look at all of that.
That's good. That's good advice.
It is. So when you talked about the social fit and the, making sure that it's a good academic fit, all sorts of things like that. But a lot of times when it comes down to it, you're also looking at price, right? So you want to make sure it's good financial fit as well. So is it true that in-state colleges are going to be less expensive than out-of-state colleges?
That's a common misconception. And I think people think that because a lot of times it is. So I'm kind of saying both things at the same time, right?
Right.
A lot of times an in-state school will give like in-state tuition. There's also some regional tuition exchange programs. There's like 4 of them in the U.S., big ones where, and I forget which one Virginia might have reciprocity with. So there's like other states, if you go to another state that's in your region,
right,
there's sometimes you can get that in-state tuition. Also, there's a lot of merit aid out there that's available. And some schools, they want to have students from lots of other states.
Right.
And that can be something that schools kind of tout, we have students from all 50 states and that kind of thing. And just, but yeah, sometimes you'd be surprised. You do want to look at outside just the schools in the state, because sometimes an out-of-state schools, even private schools, can end up being a lot less expensive than you would think, and we can help with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
that search process.
So you were talking about like the social fit, the academic fit, and then the financial fit, but there's also the, you don't want to compromise and go, hey, this school is going to be a little bit cheaper, but in the long run, they're going to do better at the school that's out of state. Sometimes it's worth that extra spend, or, it's going to be closer than a lot of people think.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what are some tips that you may have for a family right now that might be just struggling with college funding, or, deciding whether or not even to send their kids to college because they're concerned about it?
Sure. Well, I think one thing that a lot of parents, we tend to think about is, my child is the greatest athlete and whatever. I think that's a very common thing. So those opportunities are out there, right? Division I has, can be up to full ride. But also Division II, Division III schools will do other things. Just thinking about athletics for a minute, that they may not be able to give like a full scholarship, but they can do other things to help make that college affordable if they want, an athlete to go there. But there's other things for not an athlete, serving as a RA, a resident assistant. That's still a thing where a lot of schools will give, really great, financial aid, or, what do you call
tuition reimbursement.
Tuition reimbursement for that kind of thing. There's work study, paid internships are becoming more and more of a thing where you can get some really good,
some real life experience, and make some really decent money over the summer, and even some tuition or some internships will offer some money towards your tuition. So you want to look at that. Working in college, working your way through college is always an opportunity there. And there are scholarships, and I help clients find scholarships that are out there, because a lot of times there's more than you'd think. Professional organizations, regional and state scholarships are a lot of times easier to get than like the big national ones. Mm-hmm. And I would even say your high school guidance counselor is a great place to start. Right.
They're going to know a lot of scholarship opportunities that are out there.
What are some of the best ways to save for college? So I have a 13-year-old right now that I am assuming is going to go to college. She claims she wants to be a veterinarian, so we'll see, which means she has to go to the school that I don't want her to go to
she
the
wants
most.
To be a giraffe specialist.
You know what would not shock me?
Yeah.
So for those of you who know, my daughter's loved giraffes since birth, and she continues to, but she does want to be a large animal vet. Like that's what she's told me. So she's, joined her FFA and loves horses and such. So right now, the only place around this area to do that is Virginia Tech, I think.
Go Hokies.
So she's got to get a lot of scholarships. No, I'm just kidding. So, but what are some of the best ways to save for college if, you're already kind of looking at that?
Right. So a big, thing is just to start saving. Efficient ways to do that. A 529 plan is the most tax efficient way to do that. A lot of states, including Virginia, offer a tax deduction for contributions to a 529 plan. So you can get a tax deduction putting the money into a 529 plan, which it's a plan that's set aside just for higher education. That's the purpose of it. Although it can also be used for some K-12 education. And once the money is put in there, then you can allocate that to investments, which then grow tax-free. And then when the money comes out, it comes out tax-free. So for a lot of states, most states, it's actually ends up being like what you call triple tax advantaged that way if you go with the 529 plan. And you can, as college comes closer, then you get more conservative with the investments. When the child's younger, you're more aggressive. You can also continue contributing to that all the way through college. And the money can be, taken and used. So that's a definite great way.
And I know when the 529s first came out, like it was very hard. Like, so if you invested in a 529 and then your child decided not to go to college, it was harder to get the money out. So it was I felt at the time, because I was looking at them then when my kids were, middle school age. And it was kind of nerve wracking because it's like, oh, but if they don't go to college, how do we get this money out? And now they've made exit strategies a little easier and more compliant to be able to pull that money out through another investment or something like that, right?
Right. Thank you. Yes. So you can now put up to $35,000 towards a Roth IRA. Taking it out of the 529 plan. So that's great. And you can also change the beneficiaries. It doesn't have to be for whoever you originally, like your 13-year-old. If something ends up happening, you could change it.
I could switch it to my granddaughter.
You could switch to your granddaughter. You could switch it to yourself. Anybody. Yeah, you can choose.
There will be no more children in my. Nope.
So
it's definitely 529s are more flexible than they used to be, sure.
And being able to roll it to a grandchild, that's a key thing as well.
So it's like generational. Gifting in that way.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you have a grandchild, you could actually start. So I'm just going to ask this, not knowing. If you have a grandchild and you're like, okay, so I have a September to now, however old that is, less than a year old grandson. So like if I want to start saving for him, I could put it into a 529 and then it would have a lot more time to mature and grow, kind of not just on the funds that I'm putting in, but on the actual investment. It could be a great plan.
Correct. Yep. So
what a great Christmas in July present to start.
I know, right?
Just to throw that out there.
Yep. And like I said, you can be more aggressive when the child's younger, which can help it grow more. And it's helpful if you can, if you could be the one as a grandparent rather than the parent.
Right.
Because then it doesn't count against the student when they go to do the financial aid forms. It used to count against the student.
That's a key thing there.
It doesn't anymore. That's just new in the last couple of years, right? So that's a benefit to having the 529 plan outside the immediate family, like a grandparent.
I like it.
I like it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's say I have a student ready to start college, which I'm not too far off. I mean, she's going into the 8th grade, and I guess we need to start semi-thinking about it in the near future. What do I need to do to start, accessing financial aid? When should I start accessing financial aid?
Yep. So the first piece I would say is 8th grade.
Yeah, she's going into 8th.
So that's helpful because the FAFSA is the form that you do the free application for federal student aid, and you fill that out typically like the child's, maybe like the, about a year, within a year when they're starting college, like it becomes available in October of the senior year. It's kind of the normal thing. However, the FAFSA, that financial aid application looks at your prior year for the parent's income. So the year of income it's looking at is from like January of the student's sophomore year, to December of their junior year.
Okay.
So if you're going to, just one tip would be if you're able, like if you're self-employed, if you're a business owner or something, and you're able to shift any income out of that year, or kind of think maybe lower your income, maybe contribute more to pre-tax to retirement accounts during that year. That would be the year to do that. But then you're going to want to do the FAFSA, which opens up financial aid And by the way, even if you think that you make too much money to qualify for financial aid, you should still fill that out. It opens up federal direct student loans. And one thing that some parents like, even if they don't need the financial aid, is to have their child take out the student loan, and you can pay it back right away. But the student can take up to $27,000 for 4 years. And then even if you take it out and you pay it back right away, it helps them build credit. So they end up leaving college with some solid credit. It's a good way to do that. But yeah. I mean, I think just talking with your eighth grader, like expectations, well in advance, like what are we thinking about for college, and just kind of looking at different options. You don't have to go to a super expensive college. If it's accredited, if it's something that's going to be in their area of study, I'd look at return of investment. And, so probably, for example, if you're going to go into teaching or social work, maybe you want to go to a place that's not going to be as expensive, where you're going to where it's going to be worth it for you. Where if you're going to go into medicine or engineering or law, then maybe you're thinking a different way about what your choices might be.
Well, I know a lot of times now too, more people are going to smaller community colleges for a couple of years to save money, and then getting those credits, and then transferring into a different school, and sometimes that helps, whether it boosts your grades so that you're more accepted or able to get.
It also allows students to live at home longer. So if they're not quite ready to be fully independent, they can live at home a little bit longer. And a lot of people, I went to college and decided it wasn't for me. So luckily I did that at CVCC and not Virginia Tech, where it would have been a much bigger investment.
Yeah, I did that at Longwood.
It is. It is a great way to do it. And our youngest is kind of thinking along those lines, although he's thinking maybe going into a trade. But one thing statistics do show, if you start out at a 2-year college, it's a lot less likely, the idea of I'm going to go to a 4-year college, the numbers go down. So you want to keep talking, keep having a conversation.
Right.
Yeah. If that's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Keith, for joining us today. I really appreciate it. It's been some really good insight into investments and financial planning, especially for college. I think that's big. I know Mike has a question to ask you.
I had one more question too.
I'm sorry.
So we talked a lot about saving and things like that. Let's say that you haven't quite saved enough and things like that, and you do have to get in student loans. So how do, there's a lot of people out there that are still paying for student loans that are, my age and have been out of school for quite a while. So where do student loans kind of fit into the college funding picture? How much should you save versus, just depending on those loans, things like that?
Yeah. I think you want to look at, again, think of return of investment and what is your salary going to be?
Right.
And a good rule of thumb is to not take out more of a loan than your first year salary is going to be.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
An exception might be if you're going into medicine, or if you're going to be a dentist or attorney or something. But and that your income is going to grow a lot. So I think you really want to look at, projecting into the future, what is the salary going to look like? How am I going to be able to pay it back? And then get on a repayment plan. And right now, Congress is tweaking that, and things will be changing. But there's repayment plans that can look at your income. Income-driven repayment plans can be a great way to go. And there's to do that. But yeah, individual student can take up to $27,000 over 4 years. And when you think of the earnings potential that then you'll have in your career, for most people, if you're going to be a professional, that can make sense if that's what is needed to cover the gap.
Right. So not just looking, so I heard one of the key things that I picked up from what you said is not just looking at trying not to take out a loan bigger than a year's worth of salary, but also looking at the potential for that salary to grow in a job. Because if you become a doctor, first you start out, intern, resident, kind of work your way up. I'm going off from Grey's Anatomy here, but but as you're, even if you go into a specialty or something like that, your income could go up dramatically. So kind of making sure that your loans are reasonable, but it may be more than your first year salary for that loan to start with, but being able to pay it off quicker with more salary also comes into more financial planning later of how much is it going to cost you to pay what you want to pay versus to what you can pay, and live a little more frugally and pay that off quicker, and how much you'll save over time because of the interest, things like that.
Correct. And then public student loan forgiveness is another possibility for some that are
Right.
working like
Right.
in that space.
Yeah, I know
So,
that was up for a lot of teachers and things like that where they delayed
Yeah.
interest in things. So
Yeah.
just kind of depends on your industry as well. So that's also another factor to look into.
Yep.
So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you to learn more about what you do, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
they could go to merceradvisors.com and just kind of scroll down and search our whole team and just put in Keith Wayne and my name would come up. Or I'm also on LinkedIn. You can get in touch with me that way too.
Okay. Wonderful.
Awesome. So there's 2 questions we ask every podcast guest. Did you ask last week?
I did.
Okay.
You'd
good.
be proud of me. I did a good job.
Those 2 questions are very going to put you on the spot here. How long have you been part of the Central Virginia Business Coalition?
I have been a part of the Central Virginia Business Coalition since December.
Okay.
Yes.
Very
So,
cool.
yeah, he's halfway through with us.
Happy 6 months.
6-7 months.
6 full months.
Thank you.
And what do you think is the greatest benefit of being part of the CVABC?
I have enjoyed the and I haven't been to a lot of them, but like the morning coffee talks, just getting to meet new people in the community and seeing, what others are doing, with whatever their business is. I enjoy that, the relationship part of it. Yeah.
Very cool.
New people.
Yeah, I like that too. So I just came back from a Visiting Angels conference and they asked what's the most important thing that you do? And I'm like, I'll tell you the top 3. It's networking, networking, and networking.
Mm-hmm.
And they all thought that was pretty funny because they were like, oh, well, we're spending all this money here. And I'm like, people. Invest in people, invest in your community, and do things to give back and get people's attention, and they'll use you.
100%.
And they'll talk about you in a good way.
Awesome.
So.
Yeah. Well, I'll say it again. Thank you, Keith, for joining us. Sorry, I jumped in too early last
That's
time.
all
I
right.
didn't realize you had another question. But yeah, thank you for coming on the show with us today and, enlightening our listeners on ways they can save. I think that's always important, especially now when people are so worried about their money and their financial and moving forward. So, again, you can reach out to Keith if you'd like some more information. You can also find his information on our website in our member directory at cvabc.org.
It's a great resource.
We're going to cut to a quick commercial and we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Thinking about upgrading your home? Hello, I'm Philip Pantana. Whether you want a modern kitchen, a stunning bathroom, a sturdy deck, or even a brand new addition, our company, Perimeter Remodeling and Restoration, can make it happen. From quick interior repairs to full-scale renovations, homeowners trust us for expert craftsmanship and excellent service, always delivered with the care you deserve. Schedule your free consultation now at perimeterva.com. Call or text 434-515-2868.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Omega Disaster Restoration, located in Campbell County, Virginia. Omega specializes in water, fire, and smoke damage restoration, as well as mold remediation. Their region includes Central and Southwest Virginia, which spans a vast service area from Blacksburg to Charlottesville and Stanton to Danville.
In addition to disaster restoration and full-service reconstruction and remodeling, Omega is proud to offer custom all-wood cabinets through their Hanover Woodworking Studio, custom countertops via their Top Solution Studio, and dumpster services through Old Dominion Dumpsters, all part of the Omega family of brands. A beautiful showroom is currently under construction at their Exchange Drive location and will be soon open to the public, showcasing their diverse offerings.
Customers can call 434-616-4659 for emergency assistance with water, fire, smoke damage, or mold remediation needs. Omega provides 24/7 emergency response, ensuring that help is always available. Locally owned and not a franchise, Omega is your first and last call in any emergency, restoring your home or business from beginning to end. For more information about Omega Disaster Restoration and their comprehensive services, please visit omegadisasterrestoration.com/VA/Lynchburg.
One thing protects it all, your roof. And when you've got a new one, you're set for decades. I'm Andrew Lee. Our company, Perimeter Roofing and Exteriors, is trusted by homeowners and businesses for all roofing and exterior projects. Shingles, metal, slate, gutters, windows, siding, decks, and more. Perimeter Roofing and Exteriors is your go-to for all protection and efficiency. Get your free no-hassle inspection today. Call or text 434-515-2868. Perimeter Roofing and Exteriors, protecting from the top down.
Visiting Angels, America's Choice in Home Care, is now serving Lynchburg and the surrounding counties from their new location at 2201 Linghorn Road, providing our community with personal care services, including assistance with bathing, dressing, meal preparation, grocery shopping, light housekeeping, and much more. Our trained staff have to pass all of our requirements for a high standard of care, ensuring that you have a compassionate, kind, and qualified caregiver.
Our office team works with you as a partner in providing care for you or your family member to make the task of starting and continuing care an easier process. At Visiting Angels, we understand that every individual is different. That's why our team of dedicated caregivers is committed to providing tailored assistance to make you happier and healthier at home. Call 434-439-4698 to learn more about our services and schedule a free in-home, no-obligation consultation. Trust Visiting Angels in Lynchburg to bring peace of mind to you and your loved ones.
Visiting Angels, America's choice in home care.
And welcome back, Woody. I have good news for you. So
Yes, sir.
I loved hearing the Visiting Angels jingle again, right?
Yeah.
So the guy that wrote that,
Yeah.
I was at Visiting Angels conference last week. I spoke up that just a couple of minutes ago. We were in Boston, about 450 offices all joined together. The guy that wrote that song opened the conference and somebody was like, sing the jingle. He sang the entire thing from memory,
Oh, come on.
a cappella. And it was like, all I could think of was like, man, I wish I had thought to record this.
Oh, that's
for
great.
Woody.
That's
So,
great. I love a good jingle.
Yeah, it's a good jingle. So,
Jingle.
That's awesome.
yeah, well, welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. So, all right, everybody. Our next guest.
We got a special guest.
We
today.
have a real treat in here for you guys today because I have known Mr. Irby Hudson here for how long, Irby? Quite a while, right?
40 years, I think.
40 years. I ain't even 40.
Wow,
No,
Heather,
just kidding.
half your life.
Good gravy. But I'm here to tell you this second half of the show, you're going to want to stay tuned in because this man right here is hilarious. But he also knows his stuff. And we're going to be talking with him a little bit. He is the copier guru, right? Well, you've got a lot of names.
Copier King.
Copier guru, hot sauce Hudson. I mean, what else? What are all the names? I can't remember them all.
Oh, Lord, I can't remember them all either.
Okay, well, those are the best ones right there, actually. Copier guru.
Hudman.
Hudman, that's right.
My last name's Hudson, so they call me Hudman, some of them.
Yep.
Hudman 39, because I was born in 39. But tell me I don't look like I'm over about 60 anymore.
No, that's why I was getting ready to say I was even going to say not a day over like 45.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my. See?
I'm in love with you.
I know you are. I know you are, Irby.
Well, and my wife, she's wanting me to take early retirement by the time I'm 95. And I don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening either. So for those of you who have never had the pleasure of meeting Irby Hudson, you need to. He will brighten your day when he walks into the office. Never fails to make me smile and laugh. But, like he said, you say you're born in 39.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, anyway.
The dawn of the modern age. And Heather, I'm so proud of you because you've lost so much weight. I had to rename you.
He did.
Heather,
he did.
Light as a feather.
Heather, light as a
look
feather.
out.
Well, he came in one time and he went to hug me. And he's like, I don't think I'm hugging Heather. And I said,
I got the wrong person.
but you are, sir. You are. I said, I've lost quite a bit of weight.
And
So.
she's got that angelic voice.
Oh, there you go. See, it's the perfect podcast voice.
This day's just getting worse and worse for
I
me.
know, right? This is the best part of my day right here. I'm excited. So we're going to talk about copiers, right?
Right.
So Irby, he owns Old Dominion Imaging Systems.
Now, my son.
Well, your son owns it.
Let me tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
My son, we started it back in 2010. I had a business in Asheville, North Carolina for over 20-some years, but when I started losing my eyesight, I lost one, and the doctor said, you're probably going to lose the other one. So I sold the business and bought me a 12-foot truck, and I started picking up lease returns from leasing companies, sent me around to pick up lease returns because they knew I knew the copy business real well. So I did that for about 6 years, and then I lost the other eye, and I was born and raised in Lynchburg, high school named after my great-grandfather. And
Which high school is that?
EC Glass.
I went to EC Glass.
Hey, I did too.
And
Awesome. Anyway, sorry.
Class of 1990 or something.
Six.
I got deep roots in Lynchburg. Carter Glass was my great uncle.
Huh.
And then the president of Sweetbriar was Meta Glass, and she was my great aunt. So I got deep roots in especially in Lynchburg. So I came back to Lynchburg, and my son had been working for me in Asheville, and we started all over again in Lynchburg in 2010. And now we've got hundreds and hundreds of customers now. We do all the Budweiser plants in Virginia, all the way to Springfield. And we give them better service in Springfield than they can get from a local dealer. So we're real proud of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And we're a dealer rep for Brother Commercial Copiers, Lexmarks, and Toshiba. And even though we sell our new machines, we sell new machines to keep our dealerships open and keep us vibrant with them at dealer cost. So if you buy a new machine from us, we pretty much sell it at dealer cost, and that includes setup, delivery, networking, training, everything, so that we maintain a purchase of a certain amount of machines that they require for us to keep our dealership.
Mm-hmm.
But 75% of what we sell are machines that we buy from a dealer that's a clearinghouse for 10 leasing companies. And I actually helped them get set up 40 years ago, so I get preferential treatment. So we buy machines off lease that have normally right around 90 days use at the rated volume on the machine. So we don't buy junk. We don't buy old used machines. We buy machines that you can't tell them from a new machine.
Right.
And then our company, our techs strip them down to the frame, and we bring them back to the original manufacturer specs. They look and run like brand new machines, and they actually have a warranty better than a new machine. So,
that's amazing.
So a lot of people, we just have a lot of people. We leave a folder around that's got a lot of our testimonial letters in there from people like Blue Ridge Medical and Select Bank and Budweiser and just, some of our large customers. We have 75% of the attorneys in Lynchburg, and we're working on Roanoke. I think we got about 12 attorneys in Roanoke now. And give a case in point is I had a guy that has held my folder for 6 years. Brown and Brown attorneys that I sold a couple of months ago called up and wanted to know if I still had my mobile showroom, because I used to have a big mobile showroom, but COVID shut that down because people wouldn't get on there. Get more than 6 feet. They sold people on the idea they're going to die if they got within 6 feet of somebody else that had COVID. So I had to shut that down. And the guy called me and wanted to know if I could bring a mobile showroom in. I said, man, how long have you had that folder? He said, it's been about 6 years. He said, but I still need to talk to you. He said, I got one in here I've had for a long time. It's about to break down. So I went over and talked to him. And he said, I need something that's fast. And I don't need color. And he went on. And I said, sir, I got just what you need. He said, well, the main thing I want to know is how much it costs, because my old man, he's part of the business. And he said, I got to convince him we get it. And I said, well, you'll convince him of this one. This machine is 85 pages a minute. It has a booklet maker on it, staples in the middle. It's got 3-hole punch. And if you need any other inducement, I'll bring in a coffee maker with it. So the guy started laughing. I said, you do drink coffee, don't you? I said, okay, I'm going to put it down and get a coffee maker. And he said, well, how much is the machine? I said, are you sitting down? He said, I said, you ain't sitting there. I said, sitting there. He said, how can you tell? I said, God, I can tell. Sit down. So he sat down. I said, the machine costs new $14,000. And you can get the machine from us for $49.95. The guy, he'd about to die. He couldn't believe it. He said,
So Irby's getting a message now coming through his phone.
This guy trying to sell me nutritional products. I'll tell you. Hey, Paul, call me later. I'm on the radio. All right, no problem. Yeah, call me later. I need some coffee, Barry. Sorry about that. But anyway.
It's the best. I told you y'all were in for a treat today. Oh, I love me some Irby. Keep going.
So the guy went and sold for it. He said, yeah, that's kind and the price that, they said, what's wrong with it? He want to know what was wrong with the machine because the price was so low. And I said, nothing wrong with it. I said, you know Dirk Paget? And the London lawyer in town, I've had him for 10 years. He said, oh, yeah, I know Dirk Paget. I said, you trust his, if he gave you a testimony? He said, oh, yeah. I said, well, call him up. He said, he's your customer. I said, yeah, he's been my customer for a decade. He said, well, go ahead and bring the machine in there.
Well, we were just talking about the importance of people.
We
and
were the importance
relationships.
of networking and knowing people. Yeah.
I always tell him. I mean, Randy Trost here in town is one of my big lawyers, and I sold him a copy. It's been about 8 to 9 years ago, and I said, he said, well, you can tell people that. I said, can I use you as a reference? He said, yeah. And I said, he said, because I'm the tightest lawyer in town. And I said, can I tell people that? He said, yeah. I guess he didn't believe I'd do it. So I was up there on 4th Avenue, and I was calling on this couple that was a black lawyer and his wife. And I called in there, and he said, this sounds good. He says, who all do you deal with in town? And the first thing out of my mouth was, do you know Trost Law Firm? He said, yeah, you got one at Randy Trost? He said, yeah. And he said, he's the tightest lawyer in town. And his wife spoke up and said, hey, Randy Trost ain't the tallest man. I'm a tight. We're the tightest lawyer in town. So that goes on. Every time I go, I tell everybody that every lawyer I got says they're the tightest lawyer in town. And every one of them wants to trip over the other one, telling them they're the most tightest lawyer in town. And so I wait for them. I'm baiting them the whole time. So when I get done, I said, being as you said that, you can't refuse to buy my copy.
Got him.
You can't buy them anywhere else cheaper than I have. So you'll now be one of the cheapest lawyers in town. So anyway, that's part of it. But,
well, tell everybody, you've got some really good specials going on right now. We've been running them in our newsletter. Tell us about the 2 copiers you've got running right now that people can buy if they're interested.
Here's what's happening. A lot of people say, well, how come you're lowering the prices? I said, well, as we buying a little bit better volume, we pass it on to our customers. And Heather, you can vouch for this.
I can.
I've got a machine that we was going to sell for like, I think $5.95, black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And we now have it for $395. And people are going, God, my head, that's something. There's got to be something wrong with something. I said, it sells the equivalent machine new on Amazon right now is selling for $1,800. It's 50 pages a minute. It scans, it's copy, it prints, it's got a fax. I know a lot of people don't use fax anymore, but it comes with a fax. And, it's a tabletop. So these people has got some of these throwaways they buy from these office superstores. I'm telling you right now, you'd be throwing rocks at them. And it's a dynamite machine. And then we got a color version.
Right.
Color has 3 more components, because you had to take care of all the different colors, so it costs more. But this machine is close to $3,000 new, and I've got a color unit that's $495. $695.
$695.
Yeah, $695.
Yes.
And I mean, you just can't beat it. It's a tabletop. It's 40 pages a minute. It's a little slower, so it'll make good images and everything.
That just gives you time to go make a cup of coffee while it's printing, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Am I getting a coffee maker with my copier?
Oh, man.
I got to throw something in there. I got to sweeten my deal. I'm just kidding.
But
I got my Keurig. I'm all right. I'm just kidding with you, Murphy. You already gave me a good deal.
You get a cup of coffee.
I get a cup of coffee.
There
You
you
bring
go.
me Joe Beans, something from Joe Beans. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So,
We can do that.
but yeah, so you've got both of these deals running right now, which honestly, if you are in the business for a new copier, if you're looking, or maybe you're leasing a copier from a bigger company and you're paying these monthly fees and stuff, this might be a really good option if you're looking to save money.
Well, just give you an idea. I sold a big church over on Peters Creek Road in North Roanoke.
Mm-hmm.
I've been calling on them for years. At first, they had a machine for somebody, and because it was new, they just wouldn't buy it because mine wasn't new. So 5 years later, I got in there about 2 weeks late, and they bought from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So now, 10 years later, I went in there, and they took my folder, and the guy called a bunch of my customers up. It's in that folder. I got impeccable references. So I called him back, and then I said, what did it sound? What did my references say? Were they okay? He said, they sound like a church choir. I said, well, that's what I figured. So he ordered the machine. Now get this. He had a machine in there, and he was getting ready to release a new one. It was going to be $280-some a month for the lease, for a 5-year lease. And he got my machine. Get this now, 75 pages a minute, 3-hole punch, everything you can get on it was $74.95. The lease came out to like $100 some dollars less per month. And he said, these machines being rebuilt, he said, well, they last like a new machine. And I said, our average customer keeps the ones that are on lease for 5 years. And then as long as they keep the maintenance contract, most of them keep them another 2 or 3 years. Now, if you take that savings where you're not paying a lease payment for 3 more years back into your original price of the machine or lease, you can't touch what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
You literally can't touch. And I was at one church, and they brought in the whole committee, and everybody was asking me all these questions and everything. When we got done, they ordered the machine. It was a church down in near Hurt, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Hurt's one of my customers. The town council down there bought a big machine off of it. But so I asked them. I said, "Well, let me ask you this. I like to, save churches money. So how much money-wise, percentage-wise, is my machine over the 3 that I'm competing against?" She said, "The one of them, you saved us $75 a month. Another one said you saved us $100 and some a month, and the one that was closest to me was like $58 a month difference per month on a lease.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
Over
Adds up
5
quick.
years. I mean, come on, But I have, being blind, I don't do quite as well as I used to when I could see people's and see their office. I can almost tell from a decor in their office and expressions on people's faces how I'm doing. So today it's a little harder, and a lot of people say, "Man, I can't believe you out here selling copy machines blind." And I said, "I can't either, but I am." And I try to leave people laughing,
Yeah.
Always.
I learned a long time ago, they'll remember if you keep them laughing.
They will.
So I have this deal, because I can't see anybody. I got Ed down. I said, if they're good looking, I said, you kick my foot. So the other day, he kicked my foot. He went boom, boom, like that twice. And so what I do when he does that, at receptionist, I said, I can't see you, but I can see your aura. And she said, you cannot. And I said, let me tell you, I'm looking at your aura. You are stunning. And Ed said you could have seen the expression on her face, because she was stunning. She was so good looking.
Crack me up.
About nuts. She thought I could actually read the aura.
Oh, see, so you got tricks.
And another one, I'll tell you another one, because you have to keep them laughing. But we were at a church up in Rocky Mount. It was pouring down rain. This is a true story now.
Is this recent? Wait, have I heard this story before?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I don't think so. I haven't heard about the Rocky.
It was pouring down rain, and I had a different drive at the time. It was a year or two ago. And we got to the door, and the churches are real suspect of people just coming up to the door.
Yeah.
And I know that, So they got little bells, they got a ring now and all. And it used to be you could just walk right into a church. You can't do it now. So we got up to the door, and the preacher was standing back there, and the lady came to the door, And I probably look like somebody's coming in to get some free food or something. So I got up to the door, and she opened the door. May I help you? I get that everywhere I go. May I help you? Because they're scared to death. So I said, "No, I'm trying to help you." And I said, "I like to get out in the rain, and I'll explain why I'm here." And the preacher said, "Margaret, let that boys in the door." So I got in the door. And she said, so what can we do for you? And the preacher said, "What can we do for you?" And I said, "Well, I got a folder here, and it's got all my information." I said, I've got about 80 churches, all through Central Virginia. And I save people so much money, they get the tap dancing, And the guy said, "Well, I don't know if we're tap dancing now. We got an old machine here, and until it falls apart, we're just not going to buy another machine." Mm-hmm. So I said, "Okay, I understand that. That's why I brought this folder, because people keep my folder until the end of their lease, and they call me, and then, so I don't want to be high pressure or anything." And he said, "Well, I noticed you're hanging on that guy's sleeve." And I said, "Yeah." I said, I lost my eyesight about 15 years ago, but I don't really advertise it that much, except for when I'm joking, So the lady was standing over there about 10 feet from me, and she says, "Oh, so you lost your eyesight?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." I said, "I lost my eyesight, but I can still see X-ray." And she threw her hands up in front of her. And I didn't know until we left. And I said, "What was that lady laughing about?" She said, "When you told her you still had your X-ray vision, she threw her hands up in front of her." I said, "Oh my God, I thought she'd take it. I thought you took a joke." Well, the preacher said, "Hey, you boys, come here. Oh, come here. Let's gather together." He put his arms around both of us. Said, "I want to pray for you fellas here." And it was raining. So when he got through praying on us, this is a true story. We walked out, and we didn't get to our car before the sun came out. And my driver said, "Well, I guess that's enough of this for today." And I said, "You crazy? He prayed on us, and his sun comes out? We're going down and make some more calls, because there's a place down the road here that's got some businesses in it I've been wanting to go in, and it's only 5 minutes away." So we went down there. And we went in there, and so help me God, I wound up selling a company in there called McIllade. Their home office is over in Europe somewhere, but they could buy local. And I have a half a dozen machines in that place.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So the next time we're in Rocky Mount, Mike, my driver, had then, he said, "What are we going to do today?" I said, "We're going back to that church and get prayed on again. What do you think we're going to do?"
I'd make that part of my stop every time I was in that area.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we're going to be doing some work with Irby. We've talked a little bit about having one of his copiers in our space that people can. We're actually going to make it a member benefit where our members can come and make copies, because there's no copier services in the Forest area per se for anyone to really come to and make cost efficient copies. So we're going to be putting one of Irby's machines in there, maybe 2 machines in there. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do it, but we're going to be working on it, and somewhere that members can come out and make copies and print some of the things that they need, and then hopefully they'll see the value in them and purchase some for their offices when they need them and can move into the space. Yeah,
you have smaller businesses and just starting out, like they don't have a way to do that.
Let me tell you, here's the other thing that people don't. They go over to these office superstores and they buy a machine. Hey, it's okay for home use and limited use. But we had a place over on Wigginton Road. She's getting ready to open up 2 locations, and she does counseling. Mm-hmm. And she bought a little desktop. And she said, "I've got your folder here, Mr. Hudson." Said, "I think we want to try to do some business with you." And I said, "Well, what do you have now?" And she told me, and I said, "Oh, Lord." She said, we're running that thing crazy." She said, "And we just about ruined it." And she said, "Now we got to go buy all the toners again." And we didn't realize it until we went over there. And they said each one of them toners is $100 and some a piece. And I said, "Yeah." And on that particular model you got, it only runs half of what the commercial grade does.
Right.
And I said, "That's how they get you on there." I said, "The machines look exactly like the ones I sell, but they don't. Mm-hmm. The cartridges are smaller. So you're paying close to 2.5 cents to operate that machine just on black. And your color is probably running you around 18, 19 cents. She said, "Yeah, we figured it out. That's about right." So I said, "Well, I've got a machine that if you purchase it, it's got a 3-year replacement warranty. And it's the one that's $695. So I think she's going to get 2 of those, one for each office. And she's going to be so far ahead of the game because if you put it on our minimum maintenance contracts, which only starts at $35, we got to get something, per month.
Right.
So for $35, divided by whatever copies you run at $0.015 for black and say 10 cents for color, depending on the volume you're running. And I said, then that our maintenance contract includes everything. There's nothing else except paper. That's the only thing you got to buy that we don't have included in the maintenance agreement. So for the cost of the maintenance agreement, you get the toner, the developer, the drums, any parts that have to be replaced, and then it still got a 3-year replacement guarantee, on the machine. And that also includes delivering the machine, because a lot of people don't realize they buy a machine from one of these dealers. She said, well, I worked at another place, and he said they put a big machine in there, and before they got out of there, it was an extra $300. And I said, well, that was for networking all those computers. I said, they must have had a half a dozen computers. She said they did. And I said, well, that includes up to 6 computers at no charge, the training, delivery, and setup. There's no hidden charges. She said, wow. She said, you need to make sure everybody knows that, because a lot of people buy a copier and it ain't over. Mm-hmm. And when they get there, they got more stuff to pay that they never thought about.
Right.
And they'd already signed the lease, so they can't get out of it.
Yeah.
So I like to let people know that, because I tell you, it's just being in this business as long as I have, nobody knows more about copiers than a copier guru.
Yep. Well, on that note, because we're almost done, our time's almost up.
What?
Yeah, we
I had to get the hook, get the other
know.
guy.
I'm gonna have to get the hook
for you.
But tell
Get the
everybody,
hook for me, man.
how can they reach the copier guru? How can they get a hold of you so that they can learn more?
You can email us at copyotis at gmail.com. That's me.
And that's Copy Otis.
No, wait a minute. I'm sorry. My if you want to get me personally, it's Hudman at Hudman39 at gmail.com. If you want to get my son at the main office, it's Copy Otis at gmail.com.
Okay. Perfect.
And then and then,
And we also have some of his folders at the Central Virginia Business Coalition office. So if you ever wanted to stop by and grab a folder, we have some there. And you can also get his information off of our website where our member directory is, because we have Irby's information there as well. And then I'm going to let Mike's got 2 questions he has to ask you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
They're hard questions. The first one is, how long have you been part or a member of the Central Virginia Business Coalition?
I don't know, about 6 years.
It's been a while. Yeah,
it's
long
been a
time. Long time.
Yeah. And what do you think is the greatest benefit of being part of the Central Virginia Business Coalition?
Well, I get to come by and see Heather.
I knew it. I knew it was going to be the best answer ever.
That answer doesn't count. What's the other answer? No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
So, yeah, I knew that was going to be the answer. I almost didn't want to ask the question because
I knew it.
I knew.
I knew this one was going to be because it was Heather. Yay. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
no, but I do. Having Irby stop by is so much fun. I mean, I'm telling you, man, like you think he's fun.
Always a good time.
Yeah, always. But he's so knowledgeable about what he's talking about
that's
too.
The hardest thing I have to do is to get people to realize, because they have a lot of these guys being the other thing, we now are the only local home-based copier dealer in Lynchburg or Central Virginia, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, everybody else is just, they got a home office somewhere else, either Richmond or Pennsylvania or no matter where. But we are the local dealer in the Lynchburg area. If you want to deal local, and that's all I hear on LNI, deal local. You're dealing local. Did I say it wrong?
No, I'm
No.
sorry. That cracks me up. I just love listening to you chat.
We're just
So-
sitting back and watching you and enjoying.
So yes. So yeah, definitely you know, look at if you've like I said, if you've got a lease or you've got something, you know.
Oh, that's the
Coming
other
up.
thing. That's the other thing. If you have a lease, some companies will get you on your lease if you don't let them know in writing 90 days before that lease is up.
Mhm.
It'll roll for another year.
Ah,
Yeah.
And they need to know that.
You
And,
gotta
good
pay attention to
information.
dates.
yeah,
Yeah.
and also the other nice little cover we got is the company that I buy my machines from also has their own trucking company. So for half of what it costs you to ship a machine back, see if you're on a fair market value lease, what that means is the end of the lease is like a car payment. You own a residual big payment at the end. That's how they get the lease payment down low during the 5 years. At the end, a lot of churches, I run in, especially nonprofit, they sign those leases and they don't realize, they just see the monthly payment.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end, they may owe another $1,000, $2,000 to own the machine. Now, if they say, "Oh, I don't want to own it, then that's too much money," they might have to pay $1,000 to have it shipped back.
Yeah.
So my company has got a trucking company, and if they'll let me know, I'll arrange pickup. I did West Salem Baptist Church over in Roanoke, and the guy had 2 Xerox machines sitting there, and he said, "Oh man!" And this guy was an accountant, so it was easy to deal with him. So he said, they want $2,000 in his machine back. I said, no. So I said, I called mine. I said, "Look, I need y'all to do me a favor. I got 2 machines sitting in the same place." And he said, "Well, Hud, if you'll pick them up and take them to your office, when we deliver your machines, we'll pick those up for $4.99. $4.99. They ship them back to Maryland somewhere."
Yeah.
So that's why I tell people, it's catch-22s all over the place. That's why you need to call Hot Sauce Hudson.
And with that, everybody, we are going to say thank you for tuning in to us here on Talk Local to Me. You can find the information out about both of our guests and the events and anything else that we have chatted about today on
cvabc.org. Don't forget to go to the Visiting Angels Facebook page to find the theme for the parade. If you want a teaser, it's all about Christmas trees
Pay
this
for a
year.
little overtime.
So hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you next Wednesday.